like amazing for me to come here and see so many people who turn up for politics, because you hear time after time after time that young people don't care about politics. And my whole experience in life is that young people do care about politics, and young people are incredibly involved in politics, animated by politics, and really frustrated that your voice isn't heard. Democracy isn't just a one-off event. It doesn't just happen every 4 years, 5 years, or as at the moment, 3 times in 4 years. Democracy actually is about what happens between elections, and that's as important as what happens at elections. But at elections, you have a unique opportunity to make your voice heard, because you will be choosing the people who go to Westminster and will give you voice. And crucially, when the division bells go in Parliament, will represent your community as laws are made that will impact everything from the quality of the air we breathe, the ability of our country to tackle the climate crisis, right down to the challenges you have in your neighbourhood. And this is crucially important. And if your voice isn't heard, then you will have lost an incredible opportunity to shape things for the better. Elections are chapter markings, they're bookends. And then after the election, you can participate in many, many ways, and that is absolutely crucial. You've got to make your voice heard. Because I really love our country. I love the role that young people play in our country. As somebody who really struggled through life as a young person, then I want to make sure that the experiences that I had are better reflected in the policies we have as a country. So my message to you isn't that you need to make your voice heard just because of your interests. The second reason is that our country needs to hear your voice. Our country needs you to vote. And it's as simple as that. It's not just an act of making your voice heard, of making your interests represented in an election. It's actually about doing your duty for the country. Because if your voice was heard, I know for a fact our country would be a more welcoming place. It would be a more hospitable place. I believe that people who are empathetic are being driven out of politics. And I believe people who are empathetic are being put off coming into politics. And when you look at the people who are dominating our politics at the moment, in our discourse, and the cohort who are most likely to vote in elections, they are very, very often the people for whom empathy is not a priority. Change will happen whether you engage in politics or not. But it will only go in the way that you need and you desire and our country needs if you participate. Our country needs you to vote because your voice has been shut out for too long. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the first mock question time for the 2019 election. So, firstly, how's this going to work? I'm going to introduce you to all the parties. They're going to give a little introduction.
I call myself a realist. I've spoken to many of you, and it's clear that not many Bhasvic students share my enthusiasm for Brexit. It is true that in 2016, 52% of the country disagreed with you, and we simply must deliver that. Brexit will happen. Whether you get a good deal or not is wholly dependent on whether or not the Brexit party gets a seat.
In this election, there is only one party capable of bringing real change and real progress to our country. There is only one party that can defeat the Conservatives, as well as giving people the final say on Brexit. Constant cuts to the NHS have left it in a state of decay. We are facing a climate emergency, but those in power have refused to address this. Labour is dedicated to changing our society for the better. We believe that investing in the youth of today is the only way to secure our future. If you truly want real change, vote Labour.
This election is about what sort of country we want to be. Do we want to tackle issues like the climate emergency or turn a blind eye? Do we want to welcome those who come into our country to build a future for themselves or turn them away? Do we want a future that we all look forward to or one that we fear? While both Labour and the Conservatives serve the politics of extremism and division, we urge you to see that there is a credible alternative.
A climate emergency. Each year we're breaking temperature records and we're losing 286 billion tonnes of ice per year. These are just a couple of the disastrous effects. This year, Parliament finally declared a climate emergency after years of campaigning from the Green Party. But this isn't enough. The Green Party commits to a fundamental change to decarbonise the whole UK economy by 2030 and to push for a Green New Deal across the whole of Europe. The future won't wait, vote Green.
I don't know about you, but I've realised that there's a terrible stagnation within Parliament, and it's affecting us all, isn't it? Every day we hear about Brexit. I don't know about you, I'm fed up of hearing about it. We want to return to looking at other issues, like investing in our fantastic National Health Service, or perhaps focusing on the most important climate emergency. But there's only one way we can do this. We must get Brexit done. It is this terrible thing that stands in the way. It's going to be a great thing. We must get it done. We must respect the results of 2016 and get it done so we can unleash our great potential.
Hello, I am Wright in Lord Moore from the Untitled Party. Terrorists will be forced to wear bells so we know where they are actually hiding. Brexit will be negotiated by Noel Edmonds because he knows the other deal.
First one, which we'll be sending to the Conservative Party. How would your party ensure quality healthcare for all citizens?
We believe that the National Health Service is fantastic. I'm sure you do too. We are going to get 50,000 more nurses. And we're also going to get 50 million more GP surgery appointments a year.
We will spend money on the NHS, but we will show where the money will come from. We will introduce a 1p tax, a 1p extra income tax per pound that you pay on in income tax. And that will go straight to the National Health Service. We can't have the two main parties use their power of, overspending on the NHS without actually giving a credible way of actually getting that money.
I believe the NHS is one of the great marvels in this country. But over the past few years, it has been left without the help it desperately requires. That's because the great mountain, which is Brexit. And it's not the Tory government which has failed on the NHS. It's the opposition which lied to us in 2017, stringing this whole Brexit process out.
The Tories have had a long time to sort out the NHS, and yet it is being cut all the time. Privatisation is destroying it. The lack of internet access is something that divides the poor from the rich. We're going to tax the very rich. We are not taking away from the poor.
Moving speedily on to the economy. How would your party ensure growth in this economy?
Well, we want to ensure growth, I'm afraid, by getting Brexit done. But it is a pressing issue. I know that some of you may not understand, but investors who want to invest in this great nation that we have are very concerned. Are we going to continue with this wandering, luminous worry that we have for the next year with a Labour government that wants to impose another referendum? We're going to build up and unleash our potential, and that is the only way that we're going to strive forward and bring investors in and make business great once again.
This question is not about Brexit. I just want to make that clear. We're going to revolutionise our economy by nationalising rail, water and mail. We will invest 250 billion for revolutionising our energy to make it green and sustainable. We will raise the minimum wage to £10 an hour because we believe that currently it is not a living wage. We will scrap tuition fees so that more people can become employable and aren't constrained by these ridiculous fees.
On the economy, climate change will cost £100 billion a year if we continue at the current rates. 2030 is the great tipping point. We only have 10 years to solve this crisis. The Conservative pledge to be carbon neutral by 2050 is hopefully inadequate, and the Labour Party policy is not much better. The Green Party will invest £100 billion a year, which means we can decarbonise every sector of our economy.
My party pledges to become carbon neutral by 2030. We will create a windfall tax on oil and gas companies which would generate billions, which we could then reinvest into sustainable energy sources. Only party that can realistically complete a green industrial revolution. The Greens would destroy our clean nuclear energy, which would make their carbon neutral targets impossible to meet.
So yes, it was the Conservative government declared the national climate emergency, of course. But we have also promised to get to net zero emissions by 2050. Now, we are taking it seriously, but we are being realistic. We understand that not everyone is going to be able to rapidly afford perhaps the extreme costs that a green preparation might require. But we are going to get to a more green future in the future. I believe our stance on Brexit is pretty clear. I mean, we are literally called the Brexit Party. More people voted for Brexit in 2016 than they did for any of you. We're the only party who are committed to getting the Brexit people asked for, deal or no deal. There's been lots of whining, mainly from the Remain side, but there has been on the Leave side as well, that the other side is wrong. You might not like Brexit, but the fact is that it is going to get done. In the MEP elections, the Brexit Party won a majority. People still want it.
The Brexit Party is led by Nigel Farage, who is not being honest to the British people about what a no-deal Brexit would actually mean. The Labour Party is led by Jeremy Corbyn, who expects people to vote for him, not knowing what side he would campaign on in a second referendum. The Liberal Democrats understand the benefits of remaining in the EU, and we say to you, if you want to remain, you have to vote for the Liberal Democrats. If we do not get a Liberal Dem majority, then we will continue to campaign for a second referendum. But until then, we will revoke.
Allowing the people to have the final say is direct democracy. Our aim is to bring our country together in a time of deep division and polarisation. The Labour Party is the only one that will truly represent the whole country, regardless of whether you vote to leave or remain. Within 3 months, we will negotiate a Brexit deal that protects jobs and the environment with continued access to the single market and customs union. And within 6 months, we will hold a referendum on our Brexit deal and remain.
The party is under the impression that a second referendum is going to bring the country together. Now, I don't know about you, but the first referendum was divisive is enough. Do we really want another one? No is the answer to that. The problem with the Liberal Democrats is they're going to completely revoke Article 50 in their ideal world. Now, what's that saying to 17.4 million people who voted that their vote doesn't matter? So when it comes round to the next election, are they even going to bother votes at all? You know, they won't listen to on a referendum. Why should anyone else listen to them? So look, we need to get Brexit done. Respect the result of the first referendum, because that is the only referendum we need to have.
Alright, thank you. So, statistical analysis taking account of trends in life expectancy has indicated that between 2015 and 2017 there were an estimated 130,000 excess deaths as a result of austerity. So perhaps the Conservative and Liberal Democrat candidates could explain why their political leaders shouldn't be tried for murder and at least manslaughter. Thank you.
So when in 2010 we took over from the Labour government, we found ourselves in a little bit of a recession. Now, what we had to do was we had to get to a position again where we could save our money and rebuild up. We had to make some cuts, hard cuts indeed. Hard cuts that we didn't maybe want to cut, but we had to. Sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do for the better good. And I'm pleased to tell you we're now at the point where we are back with enough money so that we can invest in services that are going to help everyone live their lives to great potential.
I'm sure everybody agrees here that the climate emergency is an issue. But why should we trust the Greens to follow through on any of their green policies when the only city with a green council is ranked 302nd out of 326 parties and has a recycling rate 50% lower than the national average? Surely that shows that while the Greens stand for something good, they can't actually follow through with policies.
It's difficult to make massive radical changes when you're only in charge of one council in the country, whereas if you elect Green MPs to Parliament, we have the power to change the amount of funding that can be given to councils and the general direction of the government. I don't personally know the council that he's referencing, but an increase in the funding for councils will probably mean they have more power and jurisdiction to do the policies that the county vote the council in to implement. But also a green government will have a massive effect upon the climate emergency in the country, way more than any local councils could.
Hi, I have a question for the Brexit Party. How may I help you? How do Tory boots taste? Pardon? How do Tory boots taste? Well, the boots of 52% of the population case, because let's not forget that we have criticised in the past the Tories' Brexit deal, which they called ready-cooked, but it isn't a good deal. It is not the Brexit people voted for. All I want to say is that the allegation that we're pro-Tory is ridiculous. We're pro-Brexit. The Tory party are the only party that are actually committed to delivering Brexit, unlike the Labour Party, which said it will, it won't, I can tell you that. But if you vote for us in this seat, we will ensure that the Tories stick to their word, get a good deal, and get rid of this utter twaddle that they're negotiating with the EU. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you all for coming. We might be able to do another one of these in the future, so keep an eye out for that. But yes, thank you for the questions, thank you for the candidates, and